Hey guys, welcome back to Middle Earth Monday, and in today's video we are tackling another large scenery project that will help me play a bunch of cool games for Lord of the Rings and also play some of the important scenarios that we have coming up in the very near future. The next scenario we're of course going to play is Buckleberry Ferry, which means that the next scenic thing that I need to create is a river with a dock and a boat and all those kind of bits and pieces. I've been 3D printing furiously to get a nice river system together. I'm going to show you that in a moment and then fill you in on my plans on how to deal with that. Before I get into the video, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone there that supports the channels. That's right, channels, because I have 3 mediocre hobbies for all the other kind of hobby, 40k, Horse Heresy, Kill Team, all that stuff. And then I have 2 very different channels. This one, Middle Earth Monday, which is for all my Middle Earth content. And I have Old World Wednesday, which has all my Old World thing. Their names are not for no reason. You get a video every Monday and you get a video every Wednesday for those 2 channels. So make sure you check them all out, subscribe, like, and do all that other good stuff. If you want to help support the channel even further, make sure to go down and check out our Patreon. There's a whole host of different reasons to get involved in that. Extra videos every single week, access to podcasts, there's community showcases, there's painting competitions. There's an awesome community over on Discord, and they really help and support each other, and we do a bunch of cool stuff over there as well. And we do a monthly giveaway. In this month, we are giving away this. So if you're interested in winning an awesome World Eaters Army box set that will get shipped anywhere in the world, all you need to do is be signed up to the Patreon at any tier. Okay, without further ado, let's dive in and have a look at this river system. Okay, in case you guys are wondering, I have, like I said, been working on the natural terrain for the board for quite a while. You can see that there's a whole host of new trees added in. The trees I previously owned had the flock bases, and then I've gotten all these new ones and I've printed off some bases for them that I need to get base up. So every black ringed tree is a new tree added to the collection. I really prefer the more natural look than the plastic leaf look, which is unfortunate because I just did one of those plastic trees a few weeks ago, and I much prefer these ones. I have plans to do something about that later on. And then last week, obviously, I gave you guys these awesome rocky outcrops with trees and stuff, which really add some elevation to the table, make it look kind of interesting and exciting. And now we are moving on to the river. So this is what I have printed out. I've printed out 2 curves and 2 straight sections because I just wanted to go kind of across the middle of the board. The sections I have blown up in proportion, so they're a bit stretched out, but we're going to repair that with texture paste and stuff like that. And I printed off an extra little section at the end to finish it off. I also printed off these bits, which are Buckleberry Ferry parts from a 3D sculptor. So this is actually just a copy of the ferry that the 4 hobbits jump on. And obviously the little dock section, which they run across, and the kind of ring wraith rears its head and gives out to them for leaving. I know the river is not exactly wide enough to, the ferry doesn't have to go very far before they get to the other bank, but it's fine. We will count that as the kind of mission objective end of the mission. And obviously with 2 parts of this, I want to have a place where I can play the awesome scenario. And then I also just want to have an awesome river system to have in my natural table. So I'm going to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So much so that I've started printing out a cool bridge section. It was too big, so I had to cut it in half. So the second half of it is currently printing. But this literally replaces a river section, and you'll have an awesome bridge going up and over the river. I've made it big enough that you can have 5 ranked guys in the old world across plus movement trace. You can actually have units fighting for control of the bridge. And obviously if you play Lord of the Rings or something like that, it's going to be kind of awesome kind of skirmishes for control of the bridge, which is something that I've always wanted. So yeah, I had this as this crazy idea, and I want to make the river look really nice. I wanted to in some way encapsulate something like this. So lots of foliage and lots of grass and lots of reeds and stuff. And I didn't really have what I needed to accomplish that. So I reached out to Green Stuff World and were like, hey, can you guys help me out with this? And they were like, yeah, I got everything you need. So they sent me quite a large box of stuff, which has pretty much everything I could ever need, whether it's reeds, whether it's little leaf litter, whether it's little dead leaves or grass tufts or flock. So they were very kind. They sent over this entire box set. It's for 2 projects. Obviously it's for the Buckleberry Ferry, ferry bridge and river, and then it's also going to be for the Ammon Hen board that we do later on. That's why you can see lots of autumnal stuff in there, and lots of little leaf litter, which it won't focus on. Little leaves and stuff that are going to go in all the bases of the models for Ammon Hen. So that's going to be awesome. Can't wait for that. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to go ahead and get this model all sprayed up. I'm just going to get it a matte black spray, and then I'll come back and we'll start the painting / flocking / texture pasting stage. Okay, so it was difficult for me to find the triad of colors that I was going to use for the water. I ended up on these two sets of blues. I did consider greens, whether I wanted to make it like swampy or dark or whatever. And I looked up a bunch of other videos and pictures of like scenic rivers or, you know, rivers used for modeling and stuff. And everyone unanimously uses blue. One interesting point that I saw on a post about why blues were used was because usually it's based on a very green table. So if you do green water, you're kind of skipping out on the opportunity to add a nice spot of extra color onto the table. And that was the really like the final selling point for me. I read that and I was like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Let's put a nice, interesting blue river through the middle of the board. That will look really cool. So the first thing I did was I grabbed my airbrush and I started airbrushing. Like I said, I'm going for kind of a base coat, a mid-tone, and then a highlight of blue. And obviously when I'm applying the airbrush, I'm trying to go in a really like fast moving motion. You can see what I'm doing here. I'm not trying to achieve like even brush strokes with an airbrush as possible. I need it to look natural, so there can't be any like smooth lines. It has to be kind of haphazard and random, because obviously it's supposed to represent the different depths that you can see through the water. So a little bit of all the previous layers showing through makes a huge difference. And then obviously we are fading from the kind of brightest areas being at the edges to the darkest sections, which should be the deepest parts of the river, being in the middle. And then the tediousness that is blocking in all of the rocks that is in every single one of these sections of river. It's about 9 million rocks, but I was patient and I did them. I did them now because I wanted them to be fairly kind of bed into the colors of the board. Like when I do the kind of muck and the dirt and the dry brushing, I want that all to hit the rocks. Now, the next stage is one of my favorites, and that is getting the textured mud. So I am a big fan of the dark earth textured mud. So I started applying this all over the edges, being as neat and tidy as possible, not to hit the kind of water sections. And as you can see, I'm doing a stippling motion because that will add a lot of texture and will hide a lot of those big nasty print lines, because unfortunately when I was printing this out, obviously this was a much smaller river and I stretched it out on the build plate, which obviously stretched out all those print lines and layer lines a lot, which left me with some pretty nasty looking hills. But it's okay, we're going to cover them all up with the texture paste and with flock and all sorts of other things. So by the end of it, you're left with quite a nice looking bank and quite a nice looking river. So I wasn't panicked at all. Okay, when that was done, we did my traditional, which is dry brush it with Rise of Rust and then dry brush it with Bone. This is a very quick kind of thing to do across all the banks. So yeah, I like it. It adds a nice like little extra pop of color. It's the same thing that I did with the bases of all the trees and then added flock on top of them and stuff. So this will just help it blend into the table much more. Now I had a lot of fun because I was playing with more of the Green Stuff World stuff they sent me. Obviously, they sent me quite a large box of goodies to do with this. And this is the tall shrubbery sections. So I've got pink, a light green, and a dark green. Never used this stuff before, so I didn't really know how it was going to work. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it added such an extra dimension to the scenery. I cannot wait to use this for like models and stuff bases. I love it. So, and basically I pulled it off in clumps and then I pinched in between my fingers really tightly, and then I got my clippers and snipped down like the stalks so that they were all exactly the same level, which obviously then made it a lot easier to just add a tiny drop of super glue into wherever I wanted this section to be, then push those stems in, and the seal was immediate. It gripped onto the super glue so well, helped it dry. And then I ended up with all these awesome colored reeds all the way down the bank and through some of the rocky outcrops in the middle of the water and stuff like that. And this was a real last minute addition. And yeah, I'm so glad I did it. Like, it's one of those things where I've always wanted a proper river for a board, but like I can't ever see myself doing another river. Do you know what I mean? Like you do this project once. So I told myself I was going to go kind of all in as best as I can possibly achieve. And that's what I went for. Liquitex Heavy Gloss Gel. I was intending to use a different product. I did have some water effect and stuff, and it was gone off. It was already cured inside the pot. So this was a real last minute panic. I didn't know what to do or where to get stuff on a weekend kind of thing. And funnily enough, I ended up in an art and hobby shop And they had a bunch of Liquitex products, and I found heavy gloss gel. When I stood there in that shop for maybe 5 minutes looking up different reviews of how this stuff worked, eventually I saw a diorama someone did where a World War II plane had crashed into the ocean, and he'd used the heavy gloss gel to make the waves and stuff. And with that, I was sold. I was like, okay, this is going to work. I wasn't sure whether one tub was going to be enough. It's not the cheapest of stuff. It was 20 quid for that tub. There's a larger tub that's 50 euro. I was nearly like, okay, I'm going to probably need the 50 euro tub, but I didn't. 20 euro tub was more than enough, and there's enough left in the tub that I can do those extra 2 sections that I need to make the board a full length. I continued that process of adding all those different color reeds to all of the sections of the board, and then continued to add the water effect to all of them. It took a little bit of time, but it was definitely worth it. Okay, this was it after, this is one of the things, this took me like 3 or 4 days because of the drying times, not the working times. So after this first layer was dry, I really did like it. I think we got a nice solid coat of water, but I definitely wanted to go for another coat. And then I was going to add in this leaf litter, so the autumn leaf litter stuff. And I've gotten 2 sizes of autumn leaves. They look really, really cool, like fallen oak leaves. And I think that's just going to add another kind of layer to this. So I added another coat of the gel, being as heavy as you want to, really, as long as you're going to make the waves and the stuff look a little bit natural. I didn't want this to look like super fast moving water, but you know, it's a river, it moves, it's fine. And then when that layer was all on, but as soon as, you know, it didn't dry at all, and then I just started sprinkling some of those leaves on in different places where I think there will be some leaf litter buildup. Like I said, the 2 different sizes, and it just looks really cool. So I was really happy with that as a choice. And then when that second coat was dry, we are left with a few little whites on the end of the kind of ripples, which is perfect. You can see all that leaf litter, which is stuck to the top of the water really securely, looking really nice. It's now time to look outside of the river section and look more at the banks and try and make them stand out a little bit more. And then once again, we're going to be delving into the realm of the Green Stuff World stuff with these extra large grass tufts. These are 22mm grass tufts, as big as I've ever seen. They look really cool. The adhesive on them is not great though. Like the first one I grabbed, I just pinched the top and I pulled it off, and none of the adhesive stuff. So I was just holding loads of loose strands, which was a bit, you know, panic inducing. So I quickly added a dot of super glue down, and then I pushed them into place and kind of shaped them and fixed what I did there. So when you're removing them, you have to be a lot more careful. As you can see, I'm kind of moving them here. I'm making sure to get my thumb underneath the adhesive section and peeling it off that kind of paper, which then I'm left with one solid grass tuft that I can add super glue to and then glue it in place. So if you do decide to get the extra large tufts, just be aware of that. They definitely give me the results that I wanted. And if anyone's ever gone for a nice walk along the river's edge, there's lots of foliage, lots of nature, lots of life around it. And that's what I was trying to introduce. I wanted as much kind of different types of foliage, reeds and bushes and tall grass and stuff like that. So I continued doing that as much as I can with as much resources that I had available. So these are just little bushes, ready-made bushes. So I just added super glue to the table and added those in. So I added 1 or 2 of those per section of river. Once again, they just added an extra layer. And even then, I still wasn't finished. I wasn't like, okay, that's enough foliage now. I was like, I'm going to go further. So I pulled out this stuff, which is like sponge, dyed green. And you basically pull off sections of it, whatever you need. You add a kind of blob of super glue to wherever you want, and you can make a little more natural. Obviously, the bush I put on before is very round, which makes it look like it's kind of manicured. So you want something that's just a little bit more, like I said, natural grown. So by adding a little bit of super glue and pushing this foam section into place, it works a treat. And because it's like a sponge, it's super porous. It sucks up the super glue and it goes rock hard really fast and becomes really secure. And we're left with just another element of awesome kind of foliage in the section. And then it was time for the bit that I needed to be super careful with, which is the PVA glue. And I'm basically applying this across the edges and around all the other foliage that we have done. But right up to it, I want as much kind of interaction with the 2 or with all the multiple foliage as possible. So added PVA glue to the banks, and then I carefully brushed it in. As you can see, I'm like directing the PVA glue to go just up against all the other shrubbery and stuff. And then we're going to sprinkle a whole heap of flock on top of these sections, and then add that nice bright vibrant green, which will obviously help it blend into the table a lot better than these super kind of muddy dark brown banks. So I was really happy with this. You would think I'm now going to show you a full reveal of this river, but we do have one more thing that we're meant to do because, of course, this whole project started because the next scenario that I need to play in the Lord of the Rings series is, of course, Buckleberry Ferry. So I needed a river section in order to be able to play this. So all this effort is going in to give you guys an accurate depiction of Buckleberry Ferry. So I 3D printed some sections. I actually ended up cutting these. I heated these with a lighter and bent that section down. And I got everything I needed. So this is the ferry, and that's the dock area. And then I'm very simply going to go Xandri Dust, more gas bone, Screaming Skull, dry brushes, like super quick, super easy sections. The river, I wanted to put as much effort in as possible because obviously that river will be used in many, many scenarios and games moving forward. Whereas Buckleberry Ferry probably won't be used all that many times. Obviously when I play through this scenario now, and then in the future I obviously would love to go back and play through the whole thing again. So with everything already ready, you could do an entire day, seeing how many scenarios you can do in a single day, which would be kind of very cool. So maybe you'll see that. But as you can see, the dry brush does work a treat, and it's just, like I said, a base coat, a mid-tone, and a highlight. But obviously they looked a little bit too clean, and me, who kind of grew up on the water, I know that all kinds of wood always ends up with some kind of algae and moss and stuff like that. So I did end up using some Plague Bearer Flesh paint, and paint that in around places where kind of water would settle. So at the bottom of all those beams, any of the kind of heavy creases in the deck and stuff like that will get that kind of green touch to it. And make a huge difference. So once I was finished with all the dry brushing, I did go ahead and do that. That was a last minute, once again, decision. But I think it worked out well. And with that, we have our final finished sections of this river section for this board. Obviously, this video is a lot longer than kind of my normal painty videos. So I didn't have time or in the video to actually do Buckleberry Ferry as its solid own video and attach it onto the end of it. So it will be its own thing. We're going to record Buckleberry Ferry for next week's video and pay attention to it and have a lot of fun with it. So you have to wait one more week to actually see this table be played on. But I will go through everything I did because I even went above and beyond and added a million extra trees to the board. And you'll see that all now in my kind of last minute showings of the table. Well, I did it. Not only did I do my river, which I will show you in great detail in a moment, but I also based all of the trees. All those ones I showed you at the beginning of the video, which had the black bases on them, are now all fully painted, dry brushed, flocked. Everything, every single tree on the entire board is all done. So as a complete kind of forest board, we are done. It looks so cool. I'm super proud of it and I love it. And of course, we have the piece de resistance, which is the Buckleberry Ferry crossing. I know the crossing isn't very far, but it's okay. It serves as the objective of the mission to get the hobbits up the pier and onto the ferry and then pulled away and successfully escaping from the ring wraiths, which are pursuing them through the forest and stuff like that as part of the scenario. In the scenario, there is actually something I never really noticed watching the movie over and over and again, is there is a ferryman's house right next to it. And it's kind of like a cross between a hobbit hole and a normal kind of square house. I'm not going to be making anything like that. So I've got one of my older hobbit holes, which was I bought these online. They're like pre-cast resin, painted up and flocked and stuff like that. So it works fine. It will count as mine. So I'm ready to record the Buckleberry Ferry scenario. With the river, here's an example of one complete section of river. So as you can see, I really went all in with all the flock and foliage and trees and leaf litter on the water and all those kind of bits and pieces. And I think the results speak for themselves. I have an entire river running through the entire middle of the board. I have since printed off another one of these sections, and obviously I've printed off that bridge section we talked about. So with the 2 additional sections, it means that I can turn the entire river this way and have it running lengthways across the board for other games, and I will get to that in kind of next couple of weeks or whatever. So yeah, here it is. I like it. I think it matches the board. It adds a nice spot of color the whole way through the board. I think the table as a whole looks incredible, and I can't wait to play some proper Lord of the Rings games on it in the very near future.